Hey, everybody, it's Perch. All right. I love the way this mail starts out. It says, Dear Perch, here's a question that spares you from all the bullshit of the culture war stuff. Ah, thank you. Like it just leads out that way. It's like a spoiler, which ironically is what this mail is about. It says, I have a question about spoilers. Recently, I got into an argument with my friend because he said I spoiled a comic for him. Keep in mind, however, this comic we were talking about was the Extinction Agenda, an event that happened almost 30 years ago. Was it? I think more than 30 years ago, right? Early 90s? Anyway, we are closer. Let's see. The Extinction event is closer to the moon landing than we are to the extinction. How about that? Anyway. Oh, God, getting old sucks. Anyway, he claims that because I haven't read it yet, but because I think he means because he didn't read it yet. He claims because he didn't read it yet, I shouldn't have told him how it ends. But in my defense, we were talking about X-Men storylines, including things like Onslaught that came much later. What am I supposed to do? And also, am I expected to keep track of what my friend has read and hasn't? I think he's being unreasonable, but you can let me know. This brings me to the broader point of spoilers in general. Why is it that spoiling a live sports game is generally considered fine? Yes, I do know some people watch the Super Bowl later and they record it and try and hide themselves from the results, but this never lasts more than a couple hours and feels kind of stupid. All right. You guys will have to weigh in on that one, but anyway. However, if a show is pre-recorded, like Stranger Things, that show can be spoiled for someone even months later if they just haven't gotten around to watching it. I think this whole concept of spoilers is kind of dumb. I've had fights with my friend before on this topic, but what do you think? All right. Well, this is a good question for the comments to come out, and I know this isn't the burning kind of question, but the key answer here is it's the SJW's fault and wokeism. I'm going to make jokes. By the way, just as an aside, we've got to have a sense of humor. I keep doing this in videos. I keep mentioning this point, but we've got to have a sense of humor. Even when somebody lightly pokes fun at, there's a major difference between lightly poking fun at a cause you may agree with and having somebody slam and go after you. I mean, like, those are different things. And if we can't laugh at ourselves, if we can't at least appreciate humor, or even if it's not that funny, it's a bad joke, but the spirit in which it was intended was a bad joke, just ease up. You know, I'm still bothered over this Impossible Man nonsense. So it's like, and by God, the people were just pissed off over that. Pissed off. Like, how dare you make fun of this thing that we're fighting for our very souls for? I'm like, Christ. Anyway, spoilers. So I'm on the side of this letter writer in a lot of instances. I do think you should be generally respectful when you're talking about something that just happened. But there's a general, kind of time delay. With comics, it's less than a month. If it's a big event like Civil War, I think you got like a week, to kind of generally, if you're talking to somebody about it, just say, well, have you read it? Yeah, that's what I often do. Like, I'll just pre-ask, have you read it yet? No. Well, would you like me to spoil it? That's how the conversation goes with me. But as a retailer, people would come in and they would frequently ask questions about the comics because they're trying to figure out what to buy. And I always felt it was a really douchey answer to go, well, I can't tell you unless you've read all the comics that you haven't bought, but you're thinking about buying. I mean, that's like, what is somebody supposed to do with that? They need some general guidance. And so I would always say, well, it links to these events. How much do you want to know? And I would say 99 times out of 100, the person's like, yeah, spoil it for me. I want to know. I'd like to know what's going on. So generally I start there. But if you think about comics and you think about them coming out every week, if you got an event, if you have like a Civil War, then, the comic comes out on a Wednesday. By the time the next Wednesday rolls around, some of those comics are referencing what happened. So the comics are already moving on, and it's, it gets very hard to start to protect that information. Now, I've definitely spoiled things by accident for people, but, it kind of goes back to like, how much time do you need? If I'm making a joke about a panel or something in a comic, or I'm talking about something in a comic, I will I'll generally try not to pick the thing that is a big climactic moment of the comic to post, because then people just can't avoid the image. You're scrolling down in their feed, it just comes up, and it's a problem. But the other thing that I think I see people do a lot is like spoilers for the Fantastic Four. Can you believe Mr. Fantastic died? Like in the second sentence. And I mean, that's not, your eye is going to hit that before you save yourself from being spoiled. So I think I always feel like that's kind of dirty when people do stuff like that. That's protecting from absolutely nothing. But with the TV show is an interesting one. I don't know how. I don't know. I mean, I don't care too much about live sports. If I'm there, I don't know if I've ever. I don't know if you ever got into this. In terms of live hockey, probably hockey is where I go. I do enjoy hockey. I've got some MMA events. Those are okay. But hockey is probably the sport I will enjoy watching live. I don't know. There's something peaceful, relaxing about it. Baseball is a sport I like to go to if I want to get drunk, because there's no point to watching baseball. Basketball, it just never landed for me. I wish it did. I just can't. I can't really do it. Nobody's watching tennis or golf. Football, I've had really good times at some good football games. I just, we had had a box at one point during a Seahawks season, and we would, and season tickets, so we would go, and I kind of burned myself out of that, and I also got used to kind of being able to, turn around, like draw or talk to some other people, or do things in comfort. So when I went back to a game, recently went to a Cowboys Seahawks game, and now I'm just sitting in the seat, and I'm like, oh, this is uncomfortable, and I don't enjoy it. So I'm like, I'd rather go home and watch it in the comfort of my TV, and be able to pour myself whatever alcohol I want, not have to pay $50 for it. So anyway, live, but live sports, I've never really seen too much of I've never really understood the spoiler thing. And I think if you don't want to be spoiled about a live game, like I haven't seen the game yet, you need to announce this. You need to let people know, because otherwise, I think the logic there is, once upon a time in the olden days, if you missed something live, you just missed it. There wasn't TiVo, if you remember that, or, you didn't have this on-demand stuff. So, it's if you didn't see it, there is no seeing it later. I mean, yeah, people, I guess, could record on VHS the game and try and watch it later, but that was such a rarity. And that was kind of really a buyer beware. If you really, really want to watch Super Bowl, but you can't, or you're traveling on a plane and you just have to avoid it, then, that sucks. You're going to be walking through the airport and people are going to be talking about it. So, there's just not much you can do. For TV, it is kind of curious. So TV, the stuff's not live yet. I do get irritated with this mysterious window of how long am I supposed to protect this show for? Like if you watched, use the example, Stranger Things. You watch Stranger Things, and this is a very popular show. To me, I think it's a little bit, the person who doesn't want to be spoiled should speak up a little bit. If the conversation starts to veer toward that territory, you need to say something. Now, recently on Twitter, I posted a joke about the winner of Squid Game, the reality show, and had posted the article that the winner had not received their check yet, even though they had won back in February. And this just kind of a wacky kind of story. And, I took pains not to reveal the gender, because there are only 3 contestants left in the final, and so that narrows it down quite a bit. And, it would be easy to spoil. And so that's just try to be polite. But I'll be honest, I made plenty of mistakes. I'm sure everybody has. And I don't think this is a cardinal sin. I always get surprised, bemused, I guess, by people who, go past disappointment into insane flipping out when they get spoiled. I don't know if you've ever encountered somebody like that where you're like, oh my God, I was trying to watch that, you asshole. Like just rage monster over something being spoiled. And, that's an overreaction. Again, you can be just like, oh, I was going to watch that. And no, took some of the surprise out of it. That's a shame. But these people are like, well, now I don't even want to watch the ending. Now I'm done. I don't even need to care. Like the people who say that, you're like, you weren't that interested in the show in the first place. If revealing some of the ending is the only reason you were watching it, like in that case, people did you a favor. But anyway, that's my perspective. All right, comments. What do you say? Spoilers. What's your take on them? How do you do it? Comics, shows. How do you navigate this whole topic of spoilers? I hope everybody enjoyed the brief reprieve from these heavier topics. It's a kind of fun one. And one last spoiler alert, I guess I will throw out there. Arby's will kill you. Arby's is absolutely poison food, and it is terrible. Come at me, Arby's. Bring that defamation lawsuit. Anyway, thanks for listening.